Hey everybody, welcome to Board Online, Board Offline. Today we'll be teaching you the first part of our Nemo's War series. Now in this one we're going to be teaching you how to set up Nemo's War. This is the Ultimate Edition, as you can see, so there will possibly be some component differences depending on what you have, but we're going to be teaching you how to set up for Nemo's War. And we'll be teaching you the different difficulty levels and the differences in the setup based on that, as well as some of the optional things you can do when you set it up. Now, before we get into how to set up Nemo's War, I do want to mention our sponsor, StoneValleyGames.com. This is your friendly, distant game store. Eric and Wendy have a fantastic thing going on over there. All kinds of great games. They've got RPGs, board games, card games, collectible card games, everything that you might want for your tabletop hobby. They can help you out. So go check them out. There's a link in the description below. They also have some cool programs. If you're a return customer, they do have a loyalty program. If you live in the continental United States and you order $100 or more, they will ship to you for free. And if you live or if you are in the United States military and you are stationed overseas with an AA, AP, or AE address, they'll ship to you for free as well. Tons of great stuff going on over there. Go check them out. That's StoneValleyGames.com. There's a link in the description below. Also, if you would like to support the channel, if you enjoy what we do over here, if you find our instructional videos useful or entertaining or both, be sure to check the description below for various ways you can support the channel. One of the best ways you can do that, of course, is to subscribe and like the videos. But you could also leave a super thanks, for instance, in the comments, and that would be greatly appreciated. Anybody that does leave a super thanks will, of course, get a shout out at the first of the month when we do our top 3 most played games of the previous month. The first thing you need to do when setting up Nemo's War is choose your motive. Now, some motives are considered honorable, while others are considered stern. The honorable motives are adventure, explorer, humanist, and where is it? There it is, science. These are the honorable motives, while war, world order, piracy, and anti-imperialism are considered stern. For your first game, it's recommended that you use explore. You take the motive and place it right here on the board, making sure to line these up. And you'll actually see that you do have 4 of them here: science, explore, anti-imperialism, and war built into the board. And so technically, if you were to use one of those, you can see that these match up exactly the same: -1, +0, +0, +1, times 3, times 4, times 7. So technically speaking, you could just use that, but once you know your motive, you might as well put this out here, give you some nice extra artwork, and lets you focus on just the stats that matter for you. You may also want to read the entry for whichever motive you chose, as it has some flavor text here and maybe some notes and some additional information about that motive. The second thing you're going to want to do is prepare your draw pile. Now, especially the first time you open this up, it may be a little confusing what you're looking at here. So first thing you want to find are your events, and they will have all the event numbers across the top there, and it just says event number 1 through whatever the top number is. It's 80 or 90 something, but you can see right there we've got 96, so at least goes that high. Easy to get mixed in with these when you first open the game are some other things that you want to make sure that you split out. They all still say adventures on the back, just like the ones I just showed you. So here we have your finale cards. And these are going to say finale with a letter on top. So you want to make sure you get all these finale cards separated out. You've got 2 different sets of Nadine Docker cards, and I might not be saying that name right, but you can see it says Nadine Docker here, but event A1, A2, A3, and event B1, B2, and B3, which are known as the Unwanted Reflections and a Family Reunion. So keep those separate. And then you've got these cards that say Prologue, First Intermission, Second Intermission, and Rising Action, but are also referred to as Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and a Hollow Explosion. So first, make sure all your normal event cards, the biggest stack here, are shuffled up. and then set aside face down. We'll just put them here for now. Next, shuffle up your finale cards. And randomly draw one finale card out without revealing it. And I'll go ahead and put it here on the draw pile. You can place the other finale cards back in the box. Now take 4 event cards and place them on top of that finale card. And we're going to shuffle that up. Now, optionally, you can add Nadine Docker to this. If you're choosing to add Nadine, then you will take the B1, 2, and 3 cards, the unwanted reflections, shuffle them up. So we'll take one randomly. Let's place it here for now. The others will go back in the box. Take the rising action card, place it with that Nadine card. And then we'll take a number of event cards based on Nemo's motive. This is based on the diagram that you'll find on the right side here of page 5. So right here, Act 3, rising action card plus event cards, and we're doing the explore motive. So we need 8 event cards. So there's our 8 event cards placed on top of these 2 cards. We'll shuffle these up and place them on top of the draw pile. Next, we take the second intermission card and place it down on top of the draw pile. Now, if you had decided to use Nadine, then this is when you'll take one of the A1 cards. If you had not used Nadine previously with the B cards, then you won't use these A cards either. Take one randomly, place the others back in the box. So for Act 2 here, explore 8 cards is what we need. So 8 more event cards. And shuffle it with the Nadine card. Now take the first intermission card and place it on top of the draw pile. And now you'll add 6 more event cards face down on top of the draw pile. And keep in mind, those 6 cards will always be 6 cards. It doesn't matter what the motive is. Act 1, as you see here, is always 6 cards. So finally, you'll place the prologue card on top of the draw pile. And now you have your draw pile. The draw pile will have 31 cards if you did not use Nadine, or 33 cards if you did. Finally, you need the additional adventures over here for your adventure deck. You will count out 25 of these and place them here. All remaining event cards can be returned to the box. If you're playing on regular difficulty, known as Officer, you will place 1 treasure available gem on top of the adventure deck. If you're playing on easy mode, which is known as Sailor, you'll place 2 treasure available gemstones on top of the adventure deck. And if you're playing on hard mode, known as Captain, you will not place any treasure available gemstones on top of the adventure deck. Next, place the Nemo, Crew, and Hull ship resource markers on their leftmost space. Next, you'll search through the Nautilus upgrade deck and find the upgrade that matches the motive that you've chosen, in this case, Explore, so we get the Hydro Drive. This can be placed in your play area. If you're playing as an officer, you may immediately purchase that card and automatically equip it to the Nautilus. If you choose not to purchase it, you'll place this upgrade card face up in one of the available slots to the right of the salvage area, here. If you're playing in easy mode as a sailor, you receive this starting Nautilus upgrade card for free and may immediately just place it in your tableau. If you're playing in hard mode as captain, you cannot purchase this card at this time, and instead you place it in one of the upgrade slots over here. Again, we're playing in easy mode, so we'll go ahead and equip it. Then, for your first game especially with the quick start rules, we will go ahead and reveal 1 card for each of these slots as available upgrades. Now, once you become familiar with the different upgrades inside of this deck, you can actually use a strategic method for selecting what upgrade cards might end up in the offer over here. And when you're ready for that, you can read this section here on the bottom of page 8. It's also possible through various effects that you may end up with more than 4 upgrade cards in the offer. Next, sort the rectangular ships by their background color. Keep in mind that if you see a gray side like this or a purple side like this, that is actually the back of the token, and you need to be looking at the front, which has lots of different colors. You'll have 30 white tokens and 14 pale yellow tokens like this. All of those should be placed in an opaque container such as a cup, or if you have this bag, place them all in here. This forms the initial draw pool. At this point, there's an optional rule you may include called Deadly Seas. This option will give you an overall slight disadvantage, but you'll turn all of the Deadly Sea tokens face down, so you are seeing their brown Deadly Seas back like this. Then mix them up, and then you'll add a certain number of Deadly Seas tokens to the ship bag, depending on your difficulty level. If you're playing on hard difficulty, you'll use 4. If you're playing on normal difficulty, you'll use 3. Or if you're playing on easy, as we're setting up, you'll use 2. And then you'll drop them into the bag. Next, place the black frigate here on Frigate's Demise and the black capital for Capital Encounter. The 4 dark yellow ships for Act 2. The 4 orange ships for Act 3. And the 7 red ships for a hollow explosion. If you're playing with Deadly Seas, you'll also add a Deadly Seas to each of these 3 stacks. Just so that you can still see which stacks are here, I'm going to place them on the bottom. Next, take the blue ship group, and if you're playing at the captain difficulty level, you'll place it on space 11, like this. If you're playing officer difficulty, then there. And if you're playing on the easy sailor difficulty, on space 17. Then the green ship group will go on space 23 if you're playing as a captain, space 26 as an officer, or 29 as a sailor. And if you're playing with Deadly Seas, then each of these gets one of those as well. Set the Nautilus miniature aside as you'll place that during the prologue. Each of these boxes with a bold frame should have a hidden ship token. This is the setup for the officer difficulty level. If you're playing on the captain difficulty level, you would add 1 more hidden ship token in the Eastern Pacific, South Atlantic, and Indian Ocean. And if you're playing on the sailor difficulty, then you'll set up 1 fewer in the Western Pacific, North Atlantic, and European seas. Place the small rectangular treasure tokens into a second cup or a treasure bag. This forms the treasure draw pool. If you're playing with the adventure motive, then at this point in the setup, you would take all of the adventure tokens, mix them up face down, and set them to the side. You would then roll a d6 and place an adventure token in that major ocean, so in this case, the Western Pacific. If you're playing with the World Order motive, if you're using the World Order motive, then remove the 13 wonders from the treasure, place them face down and mix them up. And then starting with notoriety space 10, place them on every 3 spaces. So 10, 13, 16, and so on. When you reach that level of notoriety, you will take that wonder token and add it to the treasure cup. If you switch to this motive during Act 3, ignore this placement as it's too late for that. And if you switch from this motive in Act 3, leave the wonder tokens on the board that are there. Also, when using the World Order motive, you'll add all of the ally tokens to the treasure bag. And if you switch to this motive in Act 3, you'll immediately add all of the ally tokens to the treasure bag. Place the notoriety marker on the 0 space. Place a treasure available token on each of the major oceans, meaning the ones with a die symbol on them. Place the 6 standard character resource tiles with their character face up in your tableau. Do not place Nadine here. As an optional rule, you may also include ship's officer's attribute tokens with these. This will give you an overall slight advantage. To do this, you'll mix up the attribute tiles and you'll place them on the chief engineer, the first officer, and the second officer. If you're playing on the officer difficulty level, you'll draw 1 token for the chief engineer, 1 for the second officer, and 2 for the first officer. If you're playing on the captain difficulty level, again, the hardest difficulty level, you will draw 1 for the first officer only and none for anyone else. If you're playing on the sailor difficulty level, again, the easiest, you'll draw 1 for the chief engineer, 1 for the second officer, and 2 for the first officer. And then after doing that, you may discard 1 of these 4 tokens and draw a new one. That is your 1 free redraw, and that one is final. It's important to keep in mind that many of these will have important information on both sides. Place the action point marker on the 1 space of the action point track. This is for the officer difficulty level. If you're playing as the captain, place it on the 0 space. If you're playing as a sailor, the 2 space. Place the 10 wooden uprising cubes here. Place 1 black die on the 44 space of the notoriety track. And then commence play by revealing the first card of the draw pile. And that's the setup for Nemo's War. Now we will eventually get to either an instructional video or gameplay for this. I'm still figuring that out. I want to bring an instructional video for it, so I think that's what we'll do. But, and maybe we'll do both. We'll see. Also be sure to check out some other great stuff on the channel. We've got how to play Aeon Trespass Odyssey Part 2 almost scripted. We have how to play Frosthaven. That series is continuing. How to play 1815 Scum of the Earth is coming up. And how to play Lands of Gowser. So lots of great stuff. Be sure to come back and check it all out. And until next time, if you're bored online, board offline.